Welcome back to the Deep Dive, and a big hello to everyone in our chat like a native community. So, if you're past that beginner stage in English, you've probably hit this wall, right? This really common, kind of frustrating hurdle, that voice inside your head.
Ah, yes. The little, very overworked translator who lives in your brain.
Exactly. You've got this great idea, maybe a complex thought, or something funny happens, but before you can actually speak, that inner translator kicks in. It's like this two-step thing. Thought in your native language, then translate the meaning, then try to build the English sentence, and, well, by the time you actually open your mouth, the moment's passed, you feel less confident, and honestly, the sentence probably sounds a bit clunky.
Yeah, that lag's just terrible for fluency. And today, that's exactly what we're diving into. Our mission here is to give you a practical roadmap, really, based on what we've seen works, to help you bypass that translator, to start thinking directly in English. And it's not just about speed, it's about sounding more natural, connecting ideas straight to English.
Right, I think everyone knows that feeling. It's like you're speaking English, but you're constructing it brick by brick instead of, I don't know, grabbing a whole section of wall that's already built, which happens because you're translating word by word.
Exactly. And that's the core reason why translating is so inefficient. It just forces hesitation, makes the whole conversation feel mechanical. What's really interesting is native speakers, they don't really think in individual words for everything. They might think in images or feelings or like whole ideas. And the right English phrase just appears. They retrieve the concept, the finished thing, without consciously assembling words.
Okay, so if they're retrieving the finished product, that means our goal isn't necessarily perfect English from day one. It's more about training our brain to think in English patterns, these sort of chunks, even if the first thought is a bit messy.
Mm.
We're aiming for recognizing patterns, not building every single sentence from zero.
That's absolutely the key insight. And, we have to be realistic here. Listener, this is probably the toughest mental shift you'll make in language learning. That connection to your native language is just so strong. So this change, it won't happen instantly. It's a slow, gradual rewiring. Patience and persistence are, essential.
Yeah, knowing it's a process definitely helps. It feels less like failing and more like, okay, this is just part of the journey. So to help map that out, let's talk about a rough timeline. What can you reasonably expect? Like, what does progress actually look like over the coming months?
Yeah, understanding the stages is crucial. It's incremental.
Okay, so maybe in the first few weeks you're still translating a lot. Right?
Yeah.
That's normal. But maybe you start noticing tiny moments, little flashes where common words or short phrases just pop out in English automatically, like realizing thank you or excuse me just happened without you thinking about it first.
Exactly. Those little wins, they show the new pathways starting to open up. Then, maybe around the first 2 to 3 months, you might find yourself thinking in English more often for simple internal stuff. Your inner voice starts, labeling things. Oh, the coffee's hot, or I need water, check the time. Very basic, low-pressure internal practice.
That makes sense. Start internal, start simple, things right in front of you.
Hmm.
Okay, then moving on, maybe 4 to 6 months in, what happens then? Does it get more complex?
It really should start expanding more significantly around then. The sources suggest this is often when longer, more complex phrases begin to just arrive. They pop into your head directly in English, especially for topics you're familiar with, like talking about your job or your hobbies, routines.
Ah, okay. So familiarity helps build those ready-made phrases in your mind.
Definitely. And then hopefully, from 6 months onwards, direct English thinking starts becoming the default mode for your inner monologue. Now, you'll still slip back sometimes, of course, if you're tired or stressed or maybe talking about something totally new with weird vocabulary. But for the most part, your thoughts will lean towards English first.
That timeline is really helpful. It shows it's about consistency over cramming. So if that's the roadmap, what's the car? What are the actual tools, the practices we need to start using to make this happen? You mentioned 3 areas that kind of have to work together.
Yeah, think of it like a three-legged stool. You need all three for balance. You need the fuel that's your input. You need the rehearsal that's output and what we call mental speaking. And maybe most importantly, you need the right attitude, the right engine settings. That's your mindset.
Okay, let's dig into the fuel first.
Yeah.
Input habits. We hear massive exposure a lot. But is just having English TV on in the background enough? What makes input really work for this?
Well, quantity is definitely part of it. You need a lot of exposure to natural English podcasts, shows, articles, so your brain just absorbs the natural flow, the rhythms, the patterns almost unconsciously. But it also needs to be a bit more focused. especially through what's called extensive reading.
Extensive reading.
Yeah.
I mean, like reading stuff that's maybe a little easier than your absolute top level, not stopping for every single word.
Precisely. The goal isn't vocabulary mining every sentence, it's about volume. Skimming for the main idea, absorbing the way sentences flow, getting used to seeing words in context without hitting the translation panic button every time. It builds that gut feeling, that intuition for the language.
I like that. Building intuition, not just lists. And for something super practical, like right now,
Yeah.
change your settings, right? Phone, computer, maybe even stick labels on things
Yeah.
like desk, window, kettle. Force your brain to categorize your world in English.
Absolutely. That constant low-level immersion really helps. And while you're taking in all this input, you need to train your brain to notice lexical chunks. This
Yeah.
is huge for fluency.
Chunks. These power phrases, I love this concept, like, on the other hand, or get rid of, or make sense of.
Hmm.
Why does the brain treat those like one single thing instead of, 3 or 4 separate words?
Because our brains are lazy, in a good way. They love efficiency. If certain words always hang out together in the same order, serving one clear function, the brain says, okay, let's just store this whole package as one item. So when you need it, you grab the whole chunk in the long run instantly. You don't have to piece it together in the long run. It just drastically cuts down processing time.
Okay, that makes total sense. Fueled up with input and chunks. Now the rehearsal, output and mental speaking habits. Practicing getting it out. Got to start small here, I imagine.
Definitely. Start super simple, just mentally, or even whispering. Label things you see. Lamp, tree, car. Then expand slightly. Short phrases using words you absolutely know. The sky is blue. My tea is hot. That dog is loud. Keep it simple. Keep it internal.
And then build that up into talking to yourself more, like narrating your day.
Exactly. Narrate what you're doing, what you're planning, how you're feeling. Okay, I need to go to this shop later. Feels cold today. Even mentally rehearsing simple conversations like, what will you say when you order coffee tomorrow? Play it out in your head. Zero pressure.
Okay, but here's the tricky one, I think. One-step speaking. Forcing the idea directly into English, even if it comes out rough. When I try that, sometimes I just blank or to blurt out one word. What does that rough output actually look like? Is it okay if it sounds terrible?
Yes. It's supposed to sound messy at first. That's the point. It might sound like store.now instead of the perfectly formed sentence you had in your head in your native language. The goal isn't elegance at this stage. It's forcing the English pathway to fire first. Prioritize activating that path. Even if the result isn't pretty, polish comes later.
Prioritize the path, not the polish. Okay, I like that. It takes the pressure off. And that links to shadowing and mimicry too, right?
Absolutely. Shadowing, where you listen to a bit of audio, pause, and immediately repeat it aloud, is fantastic for this. You're not focusing so much on the meaning, but on the music of the language. The intonation, the rhythm, how words cluster together naturally, they're chunking. You're physically internalizing the flow, which helps bypass that analytical, word-by-word translation habit.
And circling back to those chunks,
Yeah.
if you learn a new one, say, bear in mind, you should actively try using it, right? Like, make a few quick sentences with it.
Yes, exactly. That's chunk rehearsal. Use it right away, maybe a few times in different simple contexts. That helps cement it as a single, ready-to-use unit in your mind.
Okay, fuel, rehearsal.
Mm.
Now the engine. The mindset and emotional habits. You said this is crucial.
It really is. You can do all the input and output practice in the world, but if your mindset is working against you, it won't stick. The absolute critical shift is allow imperfection. Give yourself permission to be messy.
Easier said than done, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
We all want to sound intelligent and fluent now. How do you practically let go of that need for perfection?
You have to internalize the idea that fluency actually comes before perfect accuracy. If you wait for perfection before you speak, you'll just keep translating forever. You have to embrace that awkward middle stage. That's where the learning is happening. Celebrate the slightly wrong sentences because they mean you're trying the direct route. Avoid constant self-correction mid-speech.
So practically, that means not stopping yourself mid-thought to wonder, wait, was that the right tense? Or should I have used a different preposition?
Exactly. You've just slammed the brakes on your fluency and forced yourself back into analytical mode, which often means translation mode. Get the thought out first. Communicate the idea. You can always reflect on the grammar later if needed. Prioritize flow over flawless form in the moment.
And finally, the motivation. It needs to be connected to something real, doesn't it?
Massively important. You're asking your brain to do something difficult, build new pathways. It needs a compelling reason why. Don't just link it to passing a test. Connect it to something personal. Traveling and chatting easily. understanding your favorite movie without subtitles, having a real conversation with a friend or colleague from another country. Give your brain a meaningful goal to work towards.
Okay, so we have the tools, but let's be honest, there will be bumps in the road. What are some common challenges people hit? Like when you get nervous, that translator voice seems to come roaring back, right?
Oh, totally normal. Under stress, nerves, tiredness, whatever the brain defaults to the oldest, strongest pathway. That's usually your native language. The solution isn't self-criticism, it's acceptance. Okay, I translated there, that's fine. And then just keep practicing to strengthen the new English path over time. Eventually, it becomes the stronger default.
And what about those awkward long pauses when you're searching for a word and everything just stops?
Yeah, those feel awful. Have a few simple filler phrases ready. Instead of dead silence, use something like, well, let me think, or, that's a good question, or, how should I put this? Yeah. Use these English phrases to buy yourself a few seconds. It sounds much more natural than just freezing. And over time, as you get better, those pauses will naturally shorten anyway.
Right. Okay, so consistency is king. Daily practice beats weekend cramming. Any final, super practical tips for listeners to stay consistent starting today?
Two things come to mind. First, keep a chunk journal. Don't just hope you'll remember cool phrases. When you hear or read a good chunk, write it down, look at it, try to use it. Second, try implementing short English-only periods, maybe just 10 or 15 minutes a day. Set a timer, and during that time, you actively forbid yourself from translating. Think only in English, speak only in English, even if just to yourself. It's tough, but powerful.
It really sounds like the whole approach boils down to making things easier for your brain in the long run.
That's exactly it. The brain loves efficiency. Storing and using chunks is more efficient. Recognizing patterns from input is more efficient. It reduces the mental effort needed just to produce basic sentences, freeing up your brain power for the more interesting stuff, like expressing nuance, understanding faster, responding more naturally.
So, switching to thinking directly in English. It's definitely a challenge, maybe one of the biggest for intermediate learners, but the payoff is huge.
It really is a powerful mental shift. And
hmm
just remember, consistency is so much more important than speed. Trust that gradual process. Every single time you think a phrase directly in English without translating even a tiny one, that's a win. Celebrate it. Your inner voice is literally rewiring itself.
That's the goal we want you to aim for. So here's something to think about, a final thought for you. If you could magically pick one simple daily routine, maybe making your morning coffee, walking the dog, planning your commute, and commit to thinking about it only in English starting tomorrow, which routine would you choose? And why that one? Start trying to label the steps and narrate it internally in English right now. See how it feels.